It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, maybe some charged batteries. We got a half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Let's go.
Let's go is right. So, for all the folks tuning in on OffsiteDirt, we have some great shows. There's Marketplace, there is Women in Construction, and there is High Performance Build. Well, today, the trifecta of trifectas of trifectas, the trifectas, are all of these categories with the incredible team at B.Public. My name is Mark Wille, and I'm so thrilled to have on the docket today Miss Edie Dillman. How are you, Edie?
Mark, I'm so glad. And I love you starting with the Blues Brothers because, it's summertime. So Chicago is running deep in our veins.
That's right. Like that car was jumping bridges in Milwaukee to get to the center of blues and tell people all about their mission, right? Like how excited is that? We're on a mission, right? And B.Public is on an incredible mission. And it's not like you're just on that mission. You guys have been moving that train forward for a minute.
Yeah, we started in 19, if you can believe that. So we've been trucking pretty hard, running straight uphill, and I think the gas in the tank is all mission based. I mean, we feel like we couldn't work fast enough, hard enough to create change in this world, and that has to do with all three of the subjects that you cover on OffsiteDirt. I mean, we're really pushing on so many different changes in not just the built environment, but how we do business, how we include people in what we're doing, how do we share. I mean, really a lot of our time is around just sharing good news, and and a lot of caffeine, probably less cigarettes, more caffeine.
Yeah, let's talk about
it is 23, right? It's no
cappuccino.
longer 82. So yeah.
I got my pack just fell out of my sleeve rolled up. So starting with the most brilliant thing, actually the most brilliant thing is the mission and the people, but here we go. Presto,
we're getting
change
serious now. Let's go.
We're getting serious. Can you see what I'm saying? B.Public is a B Corp, right?
Yeah.
And let's just pretend no one has heard what that means.
Yeah. So if we believe the change is necessary, and in our economy, who holds the power? Changing how we structure business is an incredibly powerful engine that basically has not been tapped. It has always been divided between nonprofits doing good, probably, federal and other governmental action to create innovation, and then private business, gunning for whatever profits available, regardless of the cost to environment or to workers or health, you name it. And so the B Corp movement is really interesting. It is a way to incorporate. So we're a C Corp, traditional. We've got a board of directors, and certainly we are scaled for growth, but in that growth, built in is our purpose. And that is the environment. It is creating jobs, and it is creating housing that is permanent and sustainable. And so in all of our decisions, and we're going to talk about all the different things that we're doing, it is pushed by that vision that by doing our work, we can do better. And so there are lots of very famous B Corps. I think everybody knows Patagonia, and they just had a huge change last year, giving all of their stock to the environment, basically putting it into a nonprofit. Ben & Jerry's has done tremendous amount of work. But there are others, Taos Ski Valley is a B Corp. And what does that mean? When you're a certified B Corp through B Lab, it means you're going through a very rigorous checklist, kind of like a LEED certification for a project, but it includes how well do you treat your employees and your contractors? Are they not just getting minimum wage, but are they getting a living wage? Do they get benefits? And so, when you're a part of this ecosystem in business, it's thinking about everything, not just the balance sheet. It's really like, what is the source of your materials and making better decisions? So we're thrilled to be a part of that. And I'm very proud. We're sitting in New Mexico. That's where our headquarters is. And when we incorporated, that was not possible. You couldn't incorporate as a B Corp. And they changed the state law, and now you can. And that's a movement that's going across the country. So, not to get into the weeds of it, you can incorporate as a B Corp and bake it in for the length of the business, or you can go through certification. And we chose to bake it in no matter who the ownership and how many shareholders we have, that those mission goals are included in our decision making.
It was your choice because that's how you guys think. That's how you drive. I think in the world of similarities, right? So if we go to Patagonia, there's a little foreshadowing for folks. The structures that come out of B.Public are like Patagonia. They're the boots on our buildings. They're the sweaters on our buildings. They're the hats on our buildings. And then like Ben and Jerry's, the goodness and the sweetness and the wonderfulness, right? The flavors of ice cream are all part of the wonderful shelter options of B.Public. And lastly, how does that similar to the ski slopes? Well, if you're going to go fast, you've got to move like you ski, right? And this is it. Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at begin to change. And you guys are transforming the way your team interacts with communities and the way communities help their neighbors.
Well, we'll just splice that and run that every day to get us out of bed. That was fantastic, Mark. And I think I would add to that, because we're going to talk about performance, that it's also similar when you look at business and are intentional about how you, grow and how you plan and what your strategy is. It's not unlike Passive House. And when you discover sort of the magic of building better and building science, that it's very hard to go back to business as usual. And so, in all of the pillars that this company was founded on, that's part of it of, we know we can do better. And there are a lot of people who don't know that yet or might fight against it, but we're very strong in, nope, we're going as far forward as we can in our standard for long time performance and health of buildings and planet. And so, I think they're related. And I would say about skiing, I think we chose not to take the ski lift, and we're hoofing it. We're carrying the skis and going uphill because we know that's, our way, right? Is to do it real.
As a youth, many people know I spent a lot of time at a lumberyard, a lot of time at construction sites, and I had dreams my whole life of how things could be, and I still have occasional dreams. But I was really blessed years ago to meet you guys and understand the power of your words, the movement of your actions, and the passions that you guys drive. And then experience it firsthand in the trainings, right? In the building of the panels. And then it occurred to me that our dreams are right in front of our very eyes. Our dreams are what the workforce is doing for those neighborhoods. And it's happening right there. Like, you had to create causation, not just work with your partners, but literally work with your team and create a facility that offers training that never existed.
Yeah. And, we knew that we were sort of at the forefront in the US on offsite, right? We knew we were sort of ahead of market adoption. There are a lot of people, kind of reading about it, thinking about it, playing with it, and we were offering it immediately, right, for implementation. And then we discovered that people are eager and interested, but really weren't prepared to look at the schedules. Like, what happens to the schedule on this single family home or this neighborhood if, all of the framing, sheathing, weather wrap, air barrier, and insulation shows up in a single order, right? And, talking to other folks, disruptors in offsite, we all agree that we were missing the labor to receive those panels and put them up safely, or receive those volumes and put them up. And it wasn't a part of our original business plan. We just saw the need to be so great. And we had so many clients asking for that special crew in regions across the US, that we just developed the curriculum and started doing it. I mean, we really, and it just keeps on going. We just finished the 3rd training. We've got a wait list up for the fall winter, which is already filling up. I mean, it's already half full and we haven't selected the dates because people are really interested in what you've been there. You've seen the training. People come knowing what B.Public's about, knowing what the training is likely going to cover, right? We're going to talk a lot about building science, about the materials we use, why we use them, about passive house, about, checking level on a foundation before you start laying panels. But people leave with that rocket fuel. They come in, they've got like a donut and a coffee in them about this, and they're ready to go. They leave just jazzed and loaded with incredible knowledge and hands-on experience to go do this work. And, it is, I don't know. I feel like if you have a mission and your values are in the right place, you attract people who feel the same way, who are seeking change and want to be a part of it. And I feel incredibly fortunate that we're tapped into people all across, from homeowners to architects to builders, who are just hungry for this and want to be a part of it. And our approach is, this is collaborative. Let's do it together. We're not going to hold back on sharing what we know. And the builder training is fantastic. Plus, it's in Las Vegas, New Mexico, which is one of the coolest little towns ever. And the green chili and the hospitality is not bad either.
I tell you, I arrived by rail. I walked off the train. I was greeted by the one Jonah Stanford, right? We went out, toured the facility, had some incredible, you can't put anything in your mouth in Las Vegas, New Mexico that you don't fall in love with. Like, everything is just delicioso, right? And the skies opened up for me, the bluest skies you've ever seen, the biggest clouds you've ever seen. And then the bonus of the training.
It only gets better, right? It only gets better. And I have to say, I did work for the state. I did work in the tourism industry for the state for a long time. So, plug to New Mexico True. The blue skies are not just in the ads and not just in our Instagram. It's 360 days a year. I mean, we are in a gorgeous place. Shh, don't tell anybody. Like, all of California and New York is moving here, but it is a wonderful place to host people.
If you're terrible at using a phone and taking pictures, you could literally just hold the phone over your head and snap away. And like, every photo I took was like, oh my God, like photographer's dream. And I mean, Jesus, just the facility, like how they save those existing buildings on Main Street, right? And the detail in those that we're now enjoying today. Like, I took 100 pictures of the entranceway, and that's not what I was there for, but it was the added value, right?
No, it makes you fall in love. And we often get the question of why New Mexico. Of course, we lived here and we've been working here for 25 years and we love this place. But this place has a long history of natural building and green building. And it is, it is a Western mentality of you build what you need and you use the materials that make sense and
Yes.
what's easily at hand. And I know you were here for the training, so you've heard Jonah, our CTO and my business partner, talk about it, how much we love that our main lumber that is, is going into the panels other than the engineered wood is coming from beetle kill in Montrose, Colorado. And how rare it is to have a wood source in the West that is, helping reclaim after, a disaster.
Yep.
But that it's so close to us. And that is, meaningful. And that's kind of the thoughtfulness we put into our assembly and our sources. But that nails it of we want it to be as close as possible. And we want it to be a part of a tradition that builders, homeowners, communities feel valued in what we're doing. They walk into our homes and it's like, oh, this is the most solid, most quiet, most comfortable space. This is how it should be.
If you write country songs out there, like just listen to the last 30 seconds. It's the making of the #1 hit that would make Waylon Jennings or John Denver or Willie Nelson hit it. Like it is the makings of it. The tree is processed because it needed to be. It goes down the road on that truck. It arrives in Las Vegas, New Mexico. It gets put into a nice sweater and it gets sent right back to Colorado, right? And it becomes a home, right? That 2x4 is like a stray dog finding his way back home. It's so amazing. Total country song.
Just add in the bridge would be something about, oh, that electric only system is. We love our friends at Mitsubishi.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know why that came out of your head too, is because that's the dynamic part of the support you guys are getting, where you have people from the mechanical space, right? Suppliers from the mechanical space taking part of their trainings because they want to help the influence in the market, and they want to see Colorado pop back from the neighborhood affected, let alone neighborhoods unaffected, right? Let's see how we could do it. And I love how you also said the history of homes and how they're battling weather and how they look in New Mexico. Because I have a little insight that you guys have a project in a historic area as well. And you're anything but historic, like your technology of who knows what year available today, but like it's a future technology available today in a historic area. What?
Yeah. And we disappear, we fall away, we're hidden within the structure of the building. I mean, once we're up and done, you're never going to think about it other than, gosh, it feels great in here and my electric bill's really low and my allergies are down. But because we're the modern bones within that home, you cover it with stucco, you put a parapet and canales on it, and it fits right in just as much as it fits in with an extraordinarily contemporary. We've got a tremendous variety of designs, some of them by our design staff who are very talented. Shout out to the studio and our architects. But we're also working with architects around the country who are specifying our panels, and that's where it gets really creative. But yeah, it goes into historic. It could go into the most contemporary multifamily. And what's fun for us, I know I keep on talking about sort of the education of the public, but our project went in front of the Historic Review Board here in Santa Fe, which is some serious stuff.
Yeah.
They're really watching, the look and feel and the culture of this town and making sure it is here forever. No problem going through H-board, because again, it's how it's treated. What's the aesthetic of the finished product? And I'll give you a secret since you were just here. A lot of those historic looking homes are just framed. right? They're just stick framed, covered in stucco. It's not real adobe. And so what's more honoring of that tradition of building with natural building materials and covering it with natural plaster is to do something that is just as resilient and vapor open and healthy in this place. So yeah, the historic project in Santa Fe will be coming up this fall, and it's a sweet little project, and it will disappear in the landscape. No one will know.
It is an iconic streetscape for all y'all who haven't been through. Like, it's, if you looked at like the postcards of Greece, how everything is, you know, that iconic white facade. Well, everything is like 3 shades of clay as you drive through there. And that is important because you don't want to run up on the blue vinyl sided house, right? That's just plopped in between and doesn't fit. But the joy of the designs that you work with and the designs that come to you, and then again the lasting impression of these thick walls that kind of tell Mother Nature, back off, we're going to be here as long as you're going to be here. And then you don't notice. It's such a thrill to say you don't notice us, you just notice how comforting we are to the people that walk in the doors and lay their heads down at night. That's that's the dream.
Beautiful, Mark. It is. It is. And you know, the nice thing about some of those browns, because you've been here, you've seen it, those beautiful hills. The point is to build so that you blend in and you don't disrupt the view for your community. I mean, talk about an environmental impact. It's a good one, right?
It's a real good one. So we have the nature of your business. We have the incredible training. So you're offering, at least in this calendar year, 4 trainings happen. Can we anticipate, you know, we don't know when people watch the videos, but can we anticipate trainings in 2024? Like, are you guys unstoppable?
Yeah, I think we'll keep on going quarterly. And we're offering it widely. I mean, it's really interesting who's coming. Folks who have projects already, you know, in line with us, and they're gunning to get ready to get that crane training, because we do have a live crane and we do build up. I know you got your signaling. Mark did the training. He is certified to work with the crane operator. Yeah, we're going to keep offering it, and maybe someday we'll travel it. We've got some folks who would like us to bring it around the country. It's 2 days, and we like kicking off those 2 days with an open house at the shop. And so it's the builders as they filter into town to come meet the crew and meet the staff and meet the community. And then, gosh, it's a wide variety of people who come, from neighbors to homeowners to architects who come to those open houses. Some really great political people who are very strongly behind this and want to know what's going on so they can share that story and lead forward for better building. So yeah, we can travel it, and potentially will next year. For the time being, it's in Las Vegas, New Mexico, which you can plane to, you can train to. Somebody could ride their bike there.
Ride your bike. I want to see the first person to ride their bike. But it's also like-minded people. I didn't know everyone in the training ahead of time. I anticipated that I might, but those new faces, we still text on Instagram, right? We're following each other on LinkedIn, and we're watching because they're trying to make they were spread out all over the country, and they're making that impact. In fact, one of the groups, like 2 weeks after the training, they put up a house in Colorado, and they're getting ready to put up another house and probably another house, like right after the training. They timed out their build, their assembly, let's call it, their install, after that training so that it would work well. And we know from all of our years in the industry, whether you're a pro or whether you're a consumer and you start doing research, the first thing you find on the search is what are problems in construction, And the number one problem in construction is water, and water affecting our buildings. And the number two problem in construction is time. So if you're moving forward with solutions and you're moving forward with innovations, you have to be of the mindset that you're creating something that is already a problem out there. And one of the problems out there is that method of water. And so if your shell structure, your Patagonia hat, Patagonia sweater, and Patagonia boots are on first, your building is protected. Why does the building need to be protected? Because the investment of those materials is step one. And step two is because the people that live inside there later maybe not have the capabilities of maintaining it. And so the building will do that for them. Secondly, time. The building is put together in a matter of days, often by people that have no more experience than this training. They're not even industry professionals, and their boogie woogie woogie style gets that building together. And then all the local folks can take care of the finishes, right? Dropping on if it needs to match stucco, dropping on if it needs to match a specific cladding for style or streetscape. And then on the inside, drywall hardy, right? Go nuts with your gypboard or whatever makes you happy, because the system's done. The water and the time has taken place.
Yeah, see, just more stuff that we're trying to solve, and we feel like we can, and then offer it widely. Yeah, I like talking to about what the cladding options are once
Okay.
you have this kind of weather barrier on there, because it really is a rain screen. So let's talk about recycled barnwood or other materials that just create that UV and help protect it, because we've
Yep.
got, you know, incredibly robust weather barrier on there that is vapor open. So even
Yep.
if, you know, you had a wetting condition inside the house, it will release that moisture. I mean, that's a part of the resiliency that, you know, we're very thoughtful and passionate about how we select and how we build.
Yeah.
And it's not just carbon sequestration. It is that cellulose can absorb moisture naturally and release it naturally. I mean, that cannot be said of other insulators, right? I mean, and that is because it is a natural fiber. It's also recycled. So each
Right.
of those pieces is a point of pride, but it's not just, you know, greenwashing. It really is about the long-term performance and resiliency of what we're going to put these homes through for the next however many 100 years, Mark. If the tapes are rated for 100, I mean, generations. These are
Right.
generational homes that will stand.
Yeah. I've been at the facility where people are reviewing the already modeled facades, right, and floor panels and roofing panels, and the care that's taken to apply these wonderful membranes, the care that's taken for the system and process of the walls, the insulating of them, the stacking them, the making them site ready, right, in the order in which things need to happen. You can often walk into environments and say, this is working well, but man, some of these things, this could go sideways. You guys took all those sideways mechanisms and offered solutions instead. Um, it's a dreamland of solutions. And I love the fact that even folks without the background, who haven't grown up in this marketplace, can learn this, can make a difference for themselves if they're on that consumer side, or they're pro, however it comes to be. There's so many ways that interact. Like, you could tell 20 different stories on how that interaction occurs. And that's just one chapter. There's a lot of chapters being written. Like, I think it must be tough for you to be interviewed, because you know about all the projects you have, all the projects you're jumping into, and then the ones that are being planned out, right, that need that development and the federal municipal support to say, our citizens are first, our communities are going to have this benefit. That's a lot to put together.
Yeah, busy. We're busy. I'm busy. And I think, I really believe that, acting locally matters, but because of what we're doing and our mission to spread this is we're also acting nationally. So hitting all of those communities. And I was just going to roll us back for a second and ask you a question, because fundamental to what we're doing is sort of a love of craft. And you and I are really passionate about the people who build and the people involved in the design. And it feels like a gift to the builders that we work with, that we're honoring their talents and their work ethic and their craftsmanship by giving them something that honors that rather than diminishes it. Right. And, that's true in our shops and how these are made, that, they're humans involved in this. And I think, we believe in some of the implementation of technology to make things faster and certainly safer. But I think people really are attracted to the fact that it feels good to work with it. It gives pride in both the shop and how we produce it. I mean, they're gorgeous. These are like Japanese gifts wrapped perfectly in bright blue weather barrier. And then when they go to site, it's an honoring of, that's what I ordered. That's even better than I imagined. You're making my work look great. And to the credit of the people we're working with, we're not out in the field installing. That's why we do the training, because we want people out there able to do this work and spread it across the country. And we just had to build, guys who did the training in December, put up a house in 16 hours. And, they were like, where's the next truck? We're ready. Let's go. I mean, they just rocked it. And it's not totally new information. It's just a reordering of that information that builders need. And that's why it can be a 2-day, because it's just that missing gap of, how do you consider this? How do you work with it? Great, go.
Well, and the impact of the people of the circle, like, you're all coming together. You don't know each other from Adam. You have a task list. And like, to give people a little example of that, we were hanging out. We just did a whole day of training with, I don't know, there's probably 24 people there when I happened to be in Las Vegas, New Mexico. And the person with maybe one of the biggest smiles on the face was not someone that took the training. It's not the people that gave the training or their friends that accompanied them. It was the crane operator who, day in and day out, his whole life is, they do a lot of waiting, they do a lot of instructing, they do a lot of caring to make sure people are safe, right? They're omnipresent individuals, very skilled with the heavy equipment they have. This person was like, I just had the greatest day of my life. And I think we had him come in, like, it was even like on a weekend or something. I don't remember exactly, but it was a bit random. And of course there's storms and all this other stuff happening. And the guy managed all of it, was glowing ear to ear, sat down and, broke bread with us too. Like, you guys are inviting me to eat? Like, it just all happened organically. And that's that training side. And then magically, you said the human side of it. There's people that, I stood next to that I was just meeting. And the guys and gals over there are people you want to stand next to. You feel the energy they're giving off. They're creating solutions. They're not going to meet the people that are enjoying the house. Maybe someday they will. But it's a level of care. It is, really, like you say, it's that special origami that comes together, and it's like, here, I present you this. And like
Well,
great
and Mark,
energy.
I gotta say, the crane operators,
Yeah.
if it was a podcast or a live broadcast, they would be the special guest
Oh,
at
yes.
each training. And we've had 3 different operators. Each one has become, an evangelist around what we're doing. They also are an adjunct professor, and they jump in and they become one of the trainers. And there is an enthusiasm for them around what we're doing and understanding why we're doing it, and that
Yeah.
it does move faster than some of their other projects.
Yeah.
But it is that transfer of knowledge that they love, seeing people hungry for hands-on experience to be safe and ready, which it's just, they have become sort of a wonderful additive to our very well-planned mix of trainers. And some of our now best friends. You just want to hang out with these guys on the job site. So
Yeah, I like the modeling and the technical, all the material planning, selection, and development of the walls clearly are what one of the entities that sets you guys apart. The mission driven for how this affects people once they're in the house, and the fact that they have this lasting house. But like when creatives get together, right? Let's face it, if you're a heavy equipment operator, you are a creative. That is your art, right? It's the art of doing it. And they're meeting the art of your system, and that comes together. That energy is like boom, it is magnetic. And like while you were telling me your version of the crane operator, I was literally picturing. So if you have never met Edie or myself and the people at the trainings, you know that we take a lot of pictures because like the energy's high with us. We want to share that with other people, and an image is a good way to share it. Like I'm picturing, because I know you have the photographs, I'm picturing a poster of each of the crane operators of 2023. Like the calendar of 2023 is the crane operators. And I can picture right now the dimples on the gentleman's face that I met, right? Because it was, probably the best photograph the gentleman has ever had of himself. He just was glowing. Like you want to talk about a vibe, that the vibe they give off. That's a welcome to the B.Public prefab calendar series. All
our
crane
crane
operators.
operators, oh, that's a good one. That's a that's a great way to fund education, is by selling calendars of crane operators. Oh, well, and I think I just talked about craft, and I think the people related to our company are sort of committed craftspeople, both inside and out of the company. But I also think these are like maybe Lego people, or maybe Jenga, or
Yeah.
what was the other one? Not Tiddlywinks.
Tinker Toys.
Yeah. And I
Making love.
imagine, all of the folks that we design with were building Lego and trying to make the most creative thing they could out of a
Yeah.
standard dimension. And then you've got the crane operators, and I can imagine them all as children with the truck, with a bubble gum, picking up the Lego and moving the Lego. So in some ways, I just think we're sort of creating that adult fantasy for kids in our profession of, what makes it more fun. And our teams keep on getting faster, and I don't want it to be a competition, but we talk about offsite making building faster. We certainly want it safer, but each training it gets a little faster, and I feel like maybe we could build an event around getting those crane operators to compete with each other.
Speed happens over time, and the nice thing is the quality isn't jeopardized, right? Because the hard lifting was already done. That's pretty good. The hard lifting was already done, but your first training of this nature was the first training for North America, right? And then your second training was the second training. Your third training was the third training. So you guys have that hive, right? That momentum. And so that is transferring, right? You can't ignore that. I know I talk in the world that's energy, but it is energy, right? Momentum is energy. So we we work in the world of physics. Otherwise, these panels wouldn't be so robust. So not just the buildings itself, but the process of the buildings have that physics happening. And gosh. So sorry folks, fourth quarter is probably filled already. Maybe not. Regardless, Edie at B.Public Prefab will let you know. And then all through 24, there's events that you might be able to go to. There's virtual events you might be able to attend. And look, your community needs your voice. So when you hear about this, share it with them. Be like, hey, I listened to something that Edie at B.Public says. We're not ready for it. But I heard a conversation that you all were having, and you all got to get on that train. You got to get on that plane, get on that bike, scoot your butt over, whether you're 106 miles away from Las Vegas or not, whether it's dark or not, whether you have bubble gum or cigarettes, meet the team of B.Public, see what they're about. Those architects out there, this is your dreamland. Bring them your project. Those consumers out there, this is the house you want to live in. And for the pros, get you the ability to focus on what people see in the house, the cladding, the flooring, the light fixtures, right? You make those choices and you will be on time and on schedule. And planet, people, those are what comes first. The profit will be there, right? Remember your 3 Ps. Edie, we've covered women in construction. We've covered the marketplace, and we've covered high performance build. When are you coming back?
Yeah, let's do this again. And, I gotta say, there's a lot we do online, talking and meeting with people and sharing what we're doing and how they can work with us, but there is no replacement for being together in person.
Yeah.
So I do hope to see you soon. And do hope to share with folks who watch, watch for build open houses near you or
Yeah.
public events. We are, on the road quite a bit talking to people. There's no replacement to being together and working together. So Mark, let's do it all again. We got more to talk about, you and I. We are
All
busy
right.
people. Thank you.
I
Thank you for having me on OffsiteDirt.
Edie, you're amazing. The team is amazing. I'm stopping myself from picking up my phone right now and looking at the next calendar thing. We'll do that off screen. Folks, this is B.Public Prefab. You look over Edie's left shoulder, you look over her right shoulder. You were probably drooling on those photographs beforehand. Fly some panels in your neck of the woods, sleep under them. I'm telling you what, if you've ever had one of those long nights studying in a library, if you've ever were a kid and had, your neighbor, Mrs. Jean, read a book to you in a library, that calm, quiet place, it's what these buildings are about. It's meaningful. And you want to be a part of something meaningful, do it for your community. Check out B.Public Prefab for OffsiteDirt. We're here all the time. All of this and more.